Alright, so this weekend we have another UFC event. The first fight I'm gonna talk about is actually the first fight on the card, which will be Alexander Romanov versus Blagov Ivanov. Romanov has a career record of 16-2 and is currently ranked 14th in the heavyweight division. In his last 3 fights, he beat Chase Sherman by first round submission. Then he lost to Marcin Tybura by majority decision. And in his last fight, he lost to Alexander Volkov by first round TKO. Well, Ivanov has a career record of 19-5 and is currently ranked 15th. In his last 3 fights, he lost to Augusto Saki by split decision. He beat Marcos Rogero de Lima by unanimous decision. And in his last fight, he lost to Marcin Tybura by unanimous decision. So I'm going to take Alexander Romanov in this fight by second round submission. The next fight will be Kevin Lee versus Rinat Fakirnov. I probably completely mispronounced that name, but we're moving on. Kevin Lee has a career record of 19-7. In his last 3 fights, he lost to Charles Oliveira by third round submission. He lost to Daniel Rodriguez by unanimous decision. And in his last fight, he beat Diego Sanchez by unanimous decision. Well, Rina has a career record of 20-1. He beat Andre Michaelis by unanimous decision in his UFC debut. And in his last fight, he beat Brandon Battle by unanimous decision. So I'm gonna choose Rinat by decision in this fight. The next fight will be Bruno Ferreira versus Nursultan Urzubonov in the middleweight division. Bruno Ferreira has a career record of 10-0, and he beat Gregory Rodriguez in his UFC debut by a first round knockout. Nursultan Rezbulev has a career record of 34-8 with 2 draws and 2 no contests, which is a lot of experience for someone who is only 29 years old. And he will be making his UFC debut in this fight. That being said, I'm going to choose Ferreira by second round knockout in this fight. The next fight will be Ishmael Bonfim versus Bennett SaintDenis in the lightweight division. Ishmael Bonfim has a career record of 19-3, and he beat Terrence McKinney by second round knockout in his UFC debut in his last fight. While Bennett SaintDenis has a career record of 10-1 with 1 no contest. In his last 3 fights, he lost to Elijah Zalesky dos Santos by unanimous decision. Then he beat Nicholas Stoles by second round submission. And in his last fight, he beat Gabriel Miranda by second round TKO. Now, this is a fight that I think could go either way, and it will end up being a close decision, where a lot of people may think it's a robbery, but in reality, you could probably give it to either guy in this fight. That's my prediction for what will happen here. The next fight will be Ariana Lipsky versus Melissa Gatto in the women's flyweight. So Ariana Lipsky has a career record of 15-8. In her last 3 fights, she beat Mandy Boone by unanimous decision. She lost to Priscilla Kohara by first round TKO. And in her last fight, she beat JJ Aldridge by unanimous decision. Well, Melissa Gatto has a career record of 8 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws. In her last 3 fights, she beat Victoria Leonardo by second round TKO. She beat Sarja Eubanks by third round TKO. And in her last fight, she lost to Tracy Cortez by unanimous decision. So I'm going to be choosing Melissa Gatto in this fight by third round TKO. The next fight will be Max Griffin versus Michael Morales at welterweight. Max Griffin has a career record of 19-9, In his last 3 fights, he beat Carlos Condit by unanimous decision. He lost to Neil Magny by split decision. And in his last fight, he beat Tim Means by split decision. Well, Michael Morales has a career record of 14-0. He beat Trevin Giles by first round TKO in his UFC debut. And in his last fight, he beat Adam Fugit by third round TKO. I'm gonna choose Michael Morales by first round knockout. The next fight will be Damir Ismagulov versus Grant Dawson at lightweight. Ismagulov has a career record of 24-2 and is currently ranked 12th. In his last 3 fights, he beat Rafael Alvarez by unanimous decision. Then he beat Guram Kutalave by split decision. And on another note, Guram is also going to be on this card earlier on. And in his last fight, he lost to Arman Sarukian by unanimous decision. Well, Grant Dawson has a career record of 19-1 and 1 draw. And he is currently ranked 15th. In his last 3 fights, he drew with Ricky Glenn. Then he beat Jared Gordon by third round submission. And in his last fight, he beat Mark Madsen by third round submission. So I'm going to choose Greg Dawson in this fight by decision. Now we are on to the main event, which will be Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov in a middleweight contender fight. Strickland has a career record of 26-5 and is currently ranked 7th in middleweight. In his last 3 fights, he lost to Alex Ferreira by first round knockout. Then he lost to Jared Cannonier by split decision. And in his last fight, he beat Nazarian Ivanov by unanimous decision. Well, Magomedov has a career record of 25-4 with 1 draw. And in his last fight, he beat Dustin Stolofus by first round TKO. So in this fight, I think Sean Strickland will win by decision. I just think this will be too big of a leap for Magomedov to deal with, where Strickland has faced some of the top level fighters in the middleweight division. And he arguably beat Jared Cannonier in their fight, but I think Strickland will be just too much for Magomedov at this point in his UFC career. But that's just how I feel about this. Let me know what you think.